Hey teachers, you know that feeling, right? You're staring at a huge list of vocabulary words and you're just wondering, how am I ever going to get my students to learn all of these? Well, if that's you, you are in the right place. Today, we're going to talk about a really powerful strategy called morphology that can completely change the game for how your students learn new words. Let's dive in. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not about endless flashcards and rote memorization, no way. It's about giving our students a kind of master key, a key that can unlock not just one word, but thousands of words. And that key is all about understanding how words are actually built. Okay, so let's start with the why. Why are we even talking about this? Well, this isn't just some fun extra activity. It is directly tied to our ELA standards, specifically for grades 3 through 5. We're going to unpack what this standard is really asking our students to do. So, the fancy word at the heart of this standard is morphology. But really, all it means is that we're teaching our students to become word detectives. They learn to look at a big, intimidating word not as one scary thing, but as a puzzle made up of smaller, easy-to-solve pieces. So, the goal is to turn our kids into word architects. Seriously, they're going to learn how to take words apart piece by piece, spot those common prefixes and suffixes. And then they'll learn how to put them back together to build new words and, most importantly, use those parts to figure out the meaning. It's a super hands-on way to think about vocabulary. All right, so that's the big idea, but how do we actually bring this to life in the classroom? We're going to use a really clear step-by-step strategy that I call the morphology ladder. This is our I do part of the lesson, where we model the entire thinking process out loud for our students. This 6-step ladder is basically our roadmap. We start super simple with a base word they already know. Then we climb up the ladder, one rung at a time, adding a prefix, then a suffix. And at every single step, we pause and talk about how the word is changing. Finally, the kids get to try it out and jot down what they've discovered. Okay, now for the fun part. Let's actually step into the classroom and see what this looks like in action. This is the we do phase, right? Where we guide the students up that ladder together. I'm going to walk you through the exact words you can use. We're going to kick things off with a classic call and response just to get everyone tuned in. You'll write the word cover on the board and say, "This word is cover. What's the word?" And you want to hear everybody all together say it right back to you. Cover. It's simple, I know, but it gets everyone on the same page and ready to go. Next up, you have to nail down the meaning. You'd say, the word cover means to hide from view. And it's always a good idea to use it in a sentence they can relate to, like, I cover my mouth when I cough. That way, the word is grounded in something they already understand. All right, time to climb that first rung of the ladder. Now here's a little tip. Try to start with a prefix your students have probably seen before. For this one, we'll add dis, and we can quickly remind them that dis usually means not or the opposite of. And then you pose the question, so when we add dis to the beginning of cover, what new word do we get? You're setting the stage for that big aha moment. And of course, they're all going to shout discover. But this part right here is where the real magic happens. The most important question you can ask is, so how did the meaning change? We want to guide them to realize that if cover means to hide, discover must mean the opposite, to find something that was hidden. That is the light bulb moment. We are almost at the top of our ladder. Let's go ahead and add a suffix. We're going to take our brand new word, discover, and just pop ed right on the end. And once again, it's all about the conversation. We're not just adding letters, we're changing the word. So we ask, how does adding ed change our word discover? And this is just a perfect, clear example of how a suffix can change the tense of a word. Your students should be able to tell you that discovered means the action already happened. And just look at that. In just a few minutes, we've taken a journey from cover all the way to discovered, and the students were the ones doing the analyzing. So we've done the I do, we've done the we do, and you know what comes next. It's time for the you do. It is so important to give students a bunch of different ways to practice this new skill on their own. And here are just a few ideas to get you started. Word maps are fantastic for digging deeper into a word's meaning. A Venn diagram would be perfect for comparing cover and discover. And you could even make an interactive word wall where kids are adding the new words they build all week long. A graphic organizer like this one is an absolute game changer. It really reinforces the step-by-step process of the morphology ladder, and it gives students their own personal dictionary that they can go back and look at. Best of all, it makes their thinking visible, which is what we're always aiming for, right? So how do we know if they've really got it, if the learning has actually stuck? Well, the final piece of this puzzle is having a quick and easy way to check for understanding. Here's exactly what you should be listening for. A student who has truly mastered this can do more than just make the new word. They can explain to you why adding dis totally flips the meaning from to hide to find. Now, a really common sticking point is when a student can add the ed just fine, but they can't quite explain that big meaning shift from the prefix. And that's your signal that they just need a bit more practice with that concept.
And if you want a super simple, no prep exit ticket you can use tomorrow, try this. Just give them a base word, something like view or lock, then ask them to add a prefix or suffix, write the new word, and pop it into a sentence. I promise this little task will tell you so much about where your kids are at and what you need to do next.
You know, when we teach students to see the parts inside of words, we're not just teaching them vocabulary. We're teaching them how to learn. We're giving them a tool that they can use for the rest of their lives. So the only question left is, what word ladders are you and your students going to climb next? The possibilities are pretty much endless.